framework, which we have already discussed in brief in module 4, but here we'll see in depth. Okay, so just let me share the slide. Okay. So coming to first thing that what is an information security framework? So as you go by the definition, so IT security frameworks are a set of processes that are used to define the IT security policy and process of an organization and the ongoing management of information security controls. So you can, from the definition, it's very clear that it's nothing but a set of processes which help in defining new policies and processes of the organization. So you can think of this information security framework as a blueprint for establishing the security in an organization. Okay, for establishing so that something is there to manage the risk and reduce the vulnerabilities. Okay, whatever risks are associated with the organization. So with the help of this information security, you can reduce the any risk is there, or you can identify the risk. So these frameworks, they often provide customized solution for the specific problems. Now, these frameworks that were developed for specific industries, specific domains, they comply with the regulations, that complies with the legal regulations we have seen, right? Standards as well. But even though some of the frameworks they comply with the regulations, there are like large number of security concepts in that overlap with each other. Okay, for that purpose, we go for the security frameworks. Okay, so we have studied some of the frameworks in module 2 also, like we have COBIT, we have ISO 2700, ITIL. So we have discussed these things earlier also, so it will be kind of a revision for you people. So as you just now I mentioned, the information security frameworks for those people who joined late. So basically, it is a set of processes that will be that defines the IT security policies and procedures. So it will be serving as a blueprint for the organization to to identify the risk and to reduce the risk. Okay, so that for that purpose, we go for the various security frameworks such as COBIT or like ISO 2700, ITIL, then COSO, whichever things we have studied in module 2. Because very few people were present on that day when I taught. Okay, so just repeating. So these things we'll be studying in detail in this chapter. So first thing you'll be studying about, just wait, is the COBIT. Okay, first is the COBIT framework. So you can see what does before going for the principles of COBIT. Okay, so we should know the full form of it. Just a second, just a second. Okay, okay. 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 Sorry for the interruption. My little niece just came in. Okay. So, what we should first understand what this COBIT stands for. Okay, so this is an acronym for one word, that is the it stands for the control objective for information and related technology. Okay, so it stands for control objective for information and related technology. So it was just a brief introduction of COBIT. So it was developed by the in 1990s by the ISACA. Okay, so basically ISACA is an independent organization of IT governance professionals. So what started as a framework to reduce IT related risk in an organization now has evolved into a full-fledged IT enterprise governance framework. So this COBIT has emerged as, which was started as like an which like risk related in organization, it is now emerged as a full-fledged governance framework. So the latest COVID version is the COVID version 5.0, which we'll be studying now. Okay, which will include the alignment of the IT strategy to that of the business. Okay, so and it will aim to provide and this COVID 5 point version 5 will its aim is to provide to end business view of the enterprise IT governance, reflecting the role of IT in creating business value to the enterprise. So yesterday also in the other classes also I always discuss what was the role of the CIO. The role of the CIO was something to map the organization's needs with the IT strategy. The IT strategy should map with the IT strategy uh, should, uh, should map with the this one, your organization strategy. Okay, so similarly, so who helps in this purpose? So this kind of standards, this COVID helps in this standards, like they help in mapping of the strategy. It helps the meets to it like helps to meet the business needs also and the IT needs also. So it's like more related to the IT thing. So what are the benefits of this COVID 5? It's not COVID. Okay, it's COVID 5. It's that to bring any order in the organization. Like if there is any chaotic environment, if you want to bring order, okay, so then you have to use this COVID 5, and also it will help you in extract the information that is relevant. Also address the needs of the stakeholders. Uh, then any drives or secures the enterprise values, ensures maintenance of quality information, create value for the business, helps in organizational operational excellence, then manage IT investments. So these are some of the benefits of the COVID framework. Okay, so benefits of the COVID IT framework. Now, what does this COVID framework does? So these are few of the principles. So there are 5 principles are there. But before that, let's discuss what is the COVID framework does. So it will create an optimal value for IT by optimizing the risk and the resource usage. So by using the COVID, you are able to reduce the risk and the resource usage. So you are now aware, like for any organization, it is not possible to completely eliminate the risk. But if you identify the risk at an early stage, you can obviously minimize the impact of that risk. So that is this is achieved with the help of the COVID 5 framework. So it will enable like governance of information and technology in the enterprise, consider the complete business of the enterprise. Okay, so it will complete like interest. It will be like not only taking the interest of the, not only think of the interest of the organization, but also take care of the stakeholders. Like if these are the stakeholders are someone who have interest. Okay, so why would someone have an interest in an organization if they have some kind of share? Like if your organization is benefiting, you have buy share something, so you are also benefited. You are also, if the organization is in it's like getting some reward, so that reward they should give it to the stakeholders too. So that is how the organization works, right? So it will also like provide a set of enablers and principles that can be applied to any kind of company. So whether it's a small size, large size, or medium size company, so these principles can be applied to all kind of organizations. So just now this COVID principle has 5 types of principles. Okay, so you can just see first is the meeting the stakeholder needs. Okay, so meeting the stakeholder needs. So what does that mean? That we have to create value for the stakeholders. Okay, so the stakeholders are delivering value which requires good governance and management practice for IT assets. So these stakeholders, if stakeholders are someone uh, who takes interest in an organization, maybe the top management. Okay, that's the top management. Like we have the yesterday we studied the legal owner, or like we have the CEO, directors. These are the top management. So these are they are known as the this one stakeholders, right? So this top management, they have to this embrace the IT just like any other business. They have to think that IT does add value to the organization. So they have to compliance to all the, even IT department has to compliance to all regulations, whether it is legal or contractual, or obligations are there. They have to follow everything. So they need to think about, right, what are the things that are affecting the value that is there, that having any loss, or like this COVID framework like provides a means for achieving all these values. Like they will help to evaluate the policies, right? They have the policy, like standards, like whether everything is working properly or not, whether everything like applications are follow the IT strategies are mapping with the legal or any like the standards, normal standards or not. So all these things help the COVID. This is the first principle, that is meeting the stakeholder needs. Okay, so what is, so we have the stakeholders need, what happens is that the stakeholder needs gets into translated into the business strategy. Now this business strategy and IT strategy needs to be aligned. So I told you, whatever in an organization is very important, that the IT strategy and the business strategy must be aligned with each other to for the organization to flourish. If our IT strategy and business strategy differs, then the organization will not flourish, because there will be a chaotic environment, right? So who does that? This is a responsibility of generally the CIO, who have both the technical knowledge and the this one management knowledge. So he okay. So all these things are done by the CIO and using the COVID environment. Next is covering the enterprise end to end. So you can see the governance enablers are basically the organizational resources for governance and the resource enterprise resources. So the governance scope encompasses will be the enterprise organization, including all the like entities and tangible and the information assets. Okay, so this COVID-5, what it does is that it clearly differentiates between the IT governance and management in the principle. So we are now aware that though this governance and management seems to be a same term, but we, though both are synonymous, but we know these two things are different, right? Next, we have applying a single integrated framework. So this COVID-5 helps in alignment with a whole range of latest standards and frameworks. So all these things, it will help in the alignment of the latest standards with the frameworks. Okay, so it will basically align in the area of the IT governance and security. So it also integrates the knowledge previously so like through you can access across the ISACA framework, such as the WEL IT. So WEL IT, if you people remember, is again one standard, okay, which is what to say, in alignment with the COVID only before. So it is, we have that as an earlier versions of COVID. So COVID-5 is the latest ones, but we have the other version. So these both are like built this. So all framework, they should be customizable. So it also it does also provides a special structure, simple structure for organizing the manual and other guidance material. So next is the enabling a holistic approach. So like it will define a whole set of enablers to effective implementation of enterprise IT governance. So basically the enablers are the factors that influence whether things will work or not. So they are driven by the goal cascade. So goal cascade just now we have discussed, right? So what was the goal cascade? Was that the stakeholders needs gets converted into the business needs, and there is mapping between the. Just check. I got a message. Okay. So that now the enablers are something that are the factors that they influence whether things will work or not. So they basically are drawn by goal cascade, and 7 such enablers are COVID-5. They are like, there are goal cascade are there that the stakeholders needs will be converted into the business needs, and other principles like they have to follow the principles and policies, and also the processes, organizational structures, culture, ethics, behavior, information, services, infrastructure, applications, people, skills, and company. So all these things they need to enable it. Okay, all these things, not only that the only the stakeholders needs to be converted into, like, all should be in alignment with business. Business and should be in alignment with um, the IT strategy, but also other the things like the organization, policies and procedures, resources and policies, information assets. All things must be um, in alignment. Now, for this enabler, so like it's very important, like all the internal and the external stakeholders. Now, what do I mean by the internal and external stakeholders? Are that internal stakeholders are like someone from who belong to the organization. Okay, someone who belong to the organization, maybe the director, maybe the CEO. Okay, and are the external stakeholders, so other people like the advisor. Okay, so who does not like belong to your organization but has interest in your organization, like things good for your organization, that are they are known as the external stakeholders. Like, so here what happens in then enabling a holistic approach, so you have to identify all the internal and the external stakeholders for the principle. After you have identified it, the goals, the internal whether as well as external, are to be identified based on the context definition. You have to identify the like what are the goals you want to achieve, right? What are the strategies that are discussed? How will you map? What are the business strategies you have that are mapping with the IT strategy? So now each of these principles it will follow a life cycle. So we have studied about the plan, development, communicate, and access cycle. So that cycle needs to be followed, and then each principle will have a set of best practices, standards and guidelines, processes, procedures, and which needs to be adhered to. So all these uh, four principles need to be followed. Right, first identifying the stakeholders, um, stakeholders needs, whether it's external or internal. Then we have to find the goal of the external and internal or external goals, and then once we have done, we have to follow the PDCA life cycle, and once the PDCA we must adhere to the standards and guidelines made by the, we have to like of the COVID standards. So sorry, and the last one is the separating governance from management. So people assume, so just we also, before studying that, we were like of the view that management and governance both means the same thing, but we know that both these things, though they sound synonymous, but they are not. Like governance is different, and one of the so this one of the main principle of this COVID is to separate governance from the management part. Okay, so you have this principles. So we have to so we are separating that governance. This COVID is something that separates the separates the governance sorry, from management. Okay, management will make the policies, and the governance will stick to this policy. They will apply those policies, right? Next, we have the COVID-5 enablers. So we have studied about these enablers, right? Who will be enabling the who will be enabling the holistic approach. So we have this first we studied about the policies and policies and principles framework. So they will basically, it will be converted to desired behavior. So okay, for the guideline of the daily activities. Then we have the processes where the like set of organized well organized activities to create an objective. What are the process? Actually nothing, but it's a activity only, right? So we'll have to achieve a set of activity, so that perform a set of activity to perform to achieve some objectives so that our organizations can benefit. So like it may take some input and produce output as well. So they said the achievement of the organizations or objectives. So by using these processes, you are able to achieve the organization's objectives. So for like for any organization to start, every organization have a objective of going opening the organization, right? So this is a process even. So what is an organization structure? Next we have the organization structure. So basically these are the decision body making bodies in the organization. So the enabler, what it does, it recommends an organization hierarchy. Like suppose for an organization for the down level, suppose for IT companies, what will be the testers are there, then there are developers. So and they work under the team leader. Okay, so team leader, they report to the manager, the manager report to the director. So all these things, they form a hierarchy. Then the director will be like he will be reporting to whom? Maybe the CEO, and the CEO is reporting to the legal owner. So that is how the entire thing is working. So this is the organization structure. So it should have a hierarchy. So it should not be such that the tester is able to directly talk to the legal owner. So everything needs to follow a process. Then there should be a culture, ethics, and behavior things also. So basically this will handle. So if any organization is there, they should follow some culture and behavioral factor. If or behavior is not good, no, the organization will not work properly. Okay, so but the thing is that this aspect is often ignored. Okay, so but it is like it's highly important in making an IT governance implementation and or like success. Next we have the information. So in information, like it is very mandatory that everywhere it is distributed, information is distributed chaotically. So it should be, must be like information should be coming with a proper source, and we should not listen to other people's sources. That is the thing. So information flows from everywhere, but when it comes to an organization, so you should follow the proper source, that it comes to proper hierarchy, proper person. Then also the, so to avoid any kind of chaos. So next is the service infrastructure and application. So there are like basically IT applications that provide the organization with the IT processing and services. So these are the normal services only. And the last one is the people skills competency. So whatever organization you are doing, whatever application you are developing, or whatever whichever work is there, so it's very important that you have the right skillful resource for that particular job. So it was very much required. So without resource, it is not possible, and without the correct resource, you cannot go for it. So the skills and competencies are very much required for the people to complete their task. Okay, so this comes under all this COVID. Okay, now tell me if you have any confusion. So this is also just a revision kind of thing, because you have already started this studied this in module 2. Any confusion? So see, this COVID and everything is basically a standard set theory. You can write it by your own if you just go through it. Nothing to explain. Any confusion? So no one is speaking. I hope no confusion. Okay, then just wait. Let me take the attendance. Okay, thank you everyone. So you can leave now. Meet you next week then. Okay. So enjoy your weekend now.